Okay, here we are. We're about to assemble the Nordictrack T6.5Si treadmill. We're taking it out of the box, and once we get it out of the box, we will go forward and show you what the first steps are. Here's the hardware kit. What I love about Nordictrack and most treadmill companies, they'll just put the kit together for you and tell you exactly what steps you're gonna use the hardware in. They have everything ready for you. All right, everyone, we got everything out of the plastic and the cardboard. We'll go over the pieces individually. The panel or the monitor here is pretty big. That's probably the second biggest piece. You got the arms, the mast arms that are gonna go up and toward the belt. And these are the coated arms that you just rest your hands on if you need something to hold on to. And then of course you have quite a few different pieces here, pockets that hold your devices or drinks, and then plastic covers. So once we're done, we're gonna have the customer turn everything on and we'll show you guys how to connect it. All right, let's move forward. All right, you guys, we're gonna start with step 2 here is getting the right upright arm in place. We're gonna get the wire pulled through here, as you can see, just from the bottom all the way up through the top. It already has like a twisty tie in here to help you pull it from the bottom through up to the top of the upright arm. You just use the twisty tie and tie it to this, and it's basically gonna pull it up through here, right there, all the way up to the top. And it's definitely long enough. It gives you a bit of slack too. All right, Nathan's gonna go ahead and do that, and we'll just film it and show you guys how we do it. All right, you guys, so this is the main connection for the panel or the TV portion or the upper part where all the functions come through. So you just slide it through the bottom, and then you just see it. You should have the twisty tie up here at the top. It comes included, and it's just right there, just waiting for you. And it's like fishing it through the post, basically, or through the arm. So once you close that through, you have the cable where you need it. Once that comes up through there, we'll be able to attach the right arm to the base here. You already have the holes, so you got the 2 top holes, 2 side holes, which I'll show you as well. And as you can see, he has the ground wire attached to that arm as well. So you make sure you have that attached. It'll definitely help with any type of electrical problems that may arise. So as you can see here, he's got it all the way through. So it'll be ready to be connected once we get to that step. So that was step 3 that we just finished. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do step 4 and 5. It's just attaching the 2 arms. It's called a right upright, it looks like. But the right upright arms, we are gonna go ahead and attach them and secure them on there. And just remember, you wanna get these plastic covers on the arms before you get the bolts through the posts and attached to the base. So that's something that you'll have to redo if you don't get those in place. Okay, so when you attach the uprights, the left and the right, you're gonna have quite a few different lengths of bolts. So just make sure you're aware of that because there are different lengths for the top holes and the side holes. So just be aware of that and pay attention to that. All right, so also keep in mind that when you tighten these down, you don't need to fully tighten them yet. So just get these bolts in place, and it's pretty much like finger tightening or just getting it to almost the stopping point. And we like to use a 12 volt power drill. Impact drill is plenty of power there to get these in place. For this particular Nordictrack, the T6.5Si, the main lug bolts are 9/16 keys, what you need for that. So there you go. So yeah, a nice little power drill will work just fine for you to get the big bolts in place. Make sure you don't pinch the wires. Okay, so with the main wire for all the controls here, it's got a little plastic fitting there that you just drop right into its place, and it clicks in place right there. So that way you know everything is properly where it needs to be. Okay, so just put it in place. Just make sure the holes line up, and the more lined up you are, the better. And then just get the bolts to catch a few threads on either side, and that way it'll stay standing for you. So here you can see it's the opposite direction. You just want to go get the bolt in the place that has the threading on the opposite side. We have the right upright loosely in place right now. Remember, don't fully tighten the bolts yet because if you do, it'll make it very difficult to get the panel in between the 2 arms there. It'll make the whole process a lot easier. We're gonna do the same thing for the left side now, get these 4 bolts in place, and we'll show you the next step after that. 2 uprights in place. Again, remember, loosely bolted on. And then we have the 2 plastic covers that we just slide down the arms here. The plastic covers, they tell you exactly whether it goes on the left or right side. And you should know by the shape, or it helps you to know by the cutout where it fits. But yeah, it marks it for you. It tells you exactly where to put it. You just slide it down. And basically it just covers so you don't see all the hardware and welding and whatnot. Just gives it a cleaner look. All right, after this, we will go on to the next step. And these are the other two pieces that will cover this side here. Come together, look very clean, hiding all the different, again, hardware pieces. All right, we finished step 5. Next is gonna be step 6 and 7. We're gonna attach the arms here that have, it's really awesome padding that it has for you. And then of course, we're gonna get that panel up there. So let's go ahead and go over these steps. Okay, so these are the left and the right arms that we're gonna basically put in place right here. And main thing is getting the bolts. And remember, this package, they send it to where it's telling you what to use in which step. So step 6, we know it's those bolts and washers. And we go here. So the arm's gonna come here, you just place it to where it's pretty level. And it's pre-threaded, so the bolt's just gonna go through the arm and then attach right there to that bracket. So we'll show you guys how that goes in place here in a moment. So we like to have the hardware in place before we get working on whatever step we're on. That way it just makes the process a bit smoother. So when we go to attach it, everything's there for us. All right, so here we are, we're gonna get the 2 bolts from the top in place. Again, just hand tighten it. You don't have to bolt everything tightly down just yet. You want to have all the main pieces in place first, and then we'll go through and tighten it all down. Pretty easy to line up. And remember, you want to have this guy just hanging out forward because the electrical connections here for all the features on the panel here. This is the female end that we're going to connect it to. That way you can get all the functions that you need for your treadmill, for your Nordictrack. All right, let's boasting a 2.6 Charlie horsepower. You don't want to mess with that. We got the arms in place, as you guys see, both the right and the left. Everything's good to go. And remember, leave this cable forward because that's what's going to be used to attach to this piece here on the back of the panel. And so he's just kind of preparing. This is what you're going to take some screws off, right?
I have to take them out. It says dispose, but I never dispose. I just put them aside.
So it's a plastic cover here that we're going to take off, and that's basically going to be one of the main support bars there for the panel. Okay, so you just put the bar across. Remember, this is the part where they're talking about why you leave the arms loose, because if you need to squeeze the arms together a bit, this will give you the exact distance that you need. So now you have the exact spacing at the top and the bottom, so when you tighten down the bottom at the end, you'll have a nice snug fit there. So he's just going to go ahead and remember those screws with the star washers. You just put them in place now, and you'll have your bar where it needs to be. Okay, so now we have that support bar in place, all 4 screws where they need to be. And again, remember, make sure you get those star washers in place. That way the screws cannot be loosened easily. So now we can tighten down all the main bolts since we have the spacer in place. Okay, so it looks like there's another ground wire up here, so make sure you connect that because it's always good to have any electrical safety feature connected when you have it available. So he's placing that panel in place right now. So you just connect the green wires together, male and female, and you'll know it only works one way. So there you go, good to go. Usually when it pops in place, you're all set. That's the step we're on here, step 9, just connecting everything. We're gonna have the male and female ends come together. And always remember, just pay attention, make sure you don't pinch these wires as you're putting the pieces together. You can sometimes push the cables inside the tube or behind the plastic. It looks like he's going to go ahead and connect it there. Usually you'll hear it click or a little pop, but not always. Sometimes they'll just go together. Now that we got the panel in place, we're just going to do the 2 screws there on the right side. Alright, now we're just going to get the left side. You have just 2 screws, make sure the holes are lined up there, and you won't have a problem getting things in place. And these screws have Loctite on them. Again, it's good because these guys won't get loose over time as you're using it and working out. Alright, so now we're going to put the 2 trays here. And again, they're marked right and left, so you know exactly, and that's facing the panel, so you just drop them in place, and that's it. Does it have a few screws, right? From the bottom screws at the bottom. They can only fit in one place. So he's doing one right there. Sometimes I recommend having flashlights if it's a really dark room. This will help you in these deeper sections there. So get those screws in place and then you'll have the trays where you need them to be. All right, we'll go on to the next step after that. This is all part of step 11. We got the 2 trays in place, number 27 and 36 there. And these are the screws that you're gonna need to get the bar cover and basically securely in place, right? So you're gonna put these 6 screws in place here, right along underneath the bar, which then holds where you put your hands, it holds that in place securely so the plastic doesn't come up at any time. It's just nice and tight here. So that's the step we're doing right now. And we'll go on to the next one after this is done. This is what it looks like after finishing step 11. And what we're gonna do now is just securely tighten all the main bolts. I love that 12-volt power, man. Yeah, now it's nice and secure. That's the way you want to go. After you get all the pieces, the main pieces together, then you go do that final tightening down. You do it with an impact gun. That just makes it a little more secure. But also, even on that, you don't want to over tighten. But usually with the 12-volt, you can't strip these type of bolts. The threading is just too strong. The bolt's too big. Okay, now we're going to work on step 12 and 13 here, where we get the support arm underneath the belt and the frame. This is what's going to allow you to lift the entire base or belt up and down when you want to put it and store it away or stow it away. So let's go ahead and move forward with that. Okay, so on this bar you got to take the screws out, which you're going to have Loctite. Of course, the hydraulic or tension bar there helps you with the weight of the base and the belt here. So it helps you lift it and drop it much easier. All right, you've done a few of those. We're going to get this bar on, so I'll lift it up, you said?
Yeah.
All right, so just since there's 2 of us guys, you can do it by yourself too, just so you know. The guys watching, but again, it's always helpful if you have 2 folks where you just lift this up. It's got some weight to it because again, you're not getting any help. But once you get it up there, it holds itself. I mean, it's easier to hold up. So Nathan's gonna attach that bar there. That's the next step. No, and then again, it's just got two screws there with Loctite. So he'll get that in place. Yeah, you gotta take that bolt out at the bottom. Alright guys, so there you go, you push the bolt through, and then you put it through at the bottom. And you can see you have the yellow stickers facing you, and it just shows you you're going to use your foot to lock it and unlock it. We'll show you guys how to do that once we get it in place. You got this lock nut bolt, and lock nut bolt. And you don't want to over tighten it either, you want it to be able to spin and hold in place. So yeah, he's going to tighten these 2 bolts on the bar. Okay, nice and secure as you guys can see. We're not holding it now. It's much more narrow basically when you want to put it away, if you want to put it in the corner of the room. I'm going to show them how it comes down. So just push it up and then kick it right there where it shows the foot. And then that lets the small tube go, yep, and then just let it down. There you go. So it's much lighter, and then like the last half of it, you don't even need to hold it. It just glides down nice and easy. And then you want to show them how to lift it and then lock it again. So, and now it's much lighter.
Self-locking, which is nice.
Self-locking, yeah. So you'll see it just kind of right there. And then you just drop it, and it locks in place. So you guys can see that right there. So that's what you do when you want to drop it. You push it forward, the entire base, and then you just kick right here. And basically the small tube goes inside the big tube. This is the way you want to move it too, is when it's locked in place, you lift it up on the wheels. And that's how you move it around. You know, obviously depending on the terrain, if you have carpet or whatnot, it might be a little more difficult than other terrains. All right, y'all, so we have pretty much everything in place other than 2 more plastic covers, right, Nick? The small plastic covers to cover the big bolts, and then we'll plug it in, see how it works. All right, so how do you do this one? You just lift up the bigger plastic cover, right?
It's got there's 2 teeth under here.
Oh, okay, so they'll just match up there. Okay, so it's underneath.
It just locks in.
All right, so just put it in place. That's it. Okay, there you go, guys. It's not going anywhere. So we got both the left and right side. So all the pieces are in place, right? Everything is assembled. We showed the customer how to lift the base up and down. So we're gonna go ahead and have them plug it in. Okay, we got it plugged in, and then here's the switch, John, just think if you ever need to, just right here. So we're gonna turn it on.
Yeah.
There we go, it's coming on. We'll take the sticker off here.
Yeah.
So like man was saying, you got the magnetic piece here for safety, a nice safety feature there. Make sure you guys connect that.
Standard.
Okay. All right, so the customer just signed into his Wi-Fi, and it looks like it's just downloading whatever apps that Nordictrack has. Looks like it's going pretty quickly, so we'll let it do that. All right, let's see how the speakers. They sound pretty loud. No problem. All right, so we'll just let the customer go through the setup. Another neat thing about this Nordictrack T6.5Si, it's a really great monitor here. It does have a camera. It is touchscreen, and it does kind of tilt up or down based on the position the guy or gal on the treadmill prefers. So yeah, it does have a little bit of a tilting capability there.
It has different trails around the world.
Just so you guys know, it looks like yeah, some apps or themes are locked. So manual start is literally manual start, yeah. So it's a nice slow speed there. Alright, everything works. This came pre-oiled. It didn't include an oil bottle, right, Nate?
No.
Alright, y'all, so the belt did shift to the left a little bit, and so on this Nordictrack, in order to shift it back to the right, we use the left side here. You use the Allen wrench that was provided in the packaging, and you just turn it half a turn clockwise, and that'll shift the belt back to the right. Obviously, if you want to shift it to the left from the right, you use the right side here. We're going to show you guys how to basically shift this belt over. See how the gap is much more narrow here than it is here on this side. So we're gonna go ahead and use this keyhole here with the Allen wrench provided. We're just gonna do a half a turn, 180 degrees, and then we'll plug it back in and let it cycle through for about 30 seconds to a minute, and we should see it shift over. So right now we're gonna go ahead and turn it off and unplug it. This is just a safety measure that they have us take so the belt doesn't turn on while we're doing it.
Okay, here we go.
So a half turn.
Clockwise, correct?
Yep, about 180 degrees. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and plug it back in, and then we'll watch and see how much it adjusts. Turn it on, and then we'll just do a manual mode start. And I want you guys to see it shift from left to right, or it should do that after a few cycles through 30 seconds or so. All right, here it goes. So again, it should open up this gap on the left side a little bit and shift it more to the right. And I think I'm already seeing, I mean, it's so subtle. But yeah, look, it's already a difference. You guys see it. So again, just pay attention when you're doing it, and just set it to where you like. This to me looks pretty even. Yeah, you can see it now. The main thing is to not allow the belt to rub against either left or right side of the plastic housing or the up front there. So that's the main purpose of this, is just you don't want it to rub up against anything or it'll damage the belt. Now you guys know how to adjust it, and it's good to go. I don't know if you want to get on it, Nate, to see if it stays. Just walk on a little bit and make sure it doesn't like start shifting to the right too much. But yeah, it looks good, and it's staying there. It's not shifting either way now. All right, we got that done. Let's go ahead and just see if the magnet safety. Yep. Oh, perfect. Awesome.